She already started. Hey, if you've ever said, man, I love the flow, I love the music, but something about the message just really bothers my spirit, then you're going to enjoy this talk tonight. She already said he's not even top two. Biggie. On her shirt, she got the goats. Who you got on the shirt? You got Rakim, I'm sure.
Goat Rakim, Goat Eric B.
Eric B?
In terms of DJ production, I nominated my DJ the president.
I didn't vote. I voted for Shirley Chisholm. Salute to
I mean,
Biz Mark.
I'm a big
Salute.
fan of DJ Jazzy Jeff, DJ Cash Money, and all. Yeah, I'm a
All
fan.
right.
I have a range of support for these DJs. So yeah.
Code Keepers, it's time for another great episode of Professor Kimya's class. I'm the teacher's assistant. I was going to say teacher's pet, but that's not working. Professor's assistant. You all are our classroom, our students. So as you watch the playback, feel free to leave your questions, your comments in the chat, and let's get started. So when the conversation of hip hop artists pop up, and people always say, "Who's your top 10? Who's your top 10? Who's your top 10?" I've learned through you that there are some things that our top tenors have said that are really kind of disparaging, despicable, a whole lot of diss words. So let's start with Big. I'm a Brooklyn boy. Get used to it. Big's not in your top anything. Why not?
I mean, I appreciate his lyricism, good songs, but and again, I don't want people replying like, "Who made you the expert?" Blah blah blah. Like, look here, those of us who were born in the '70s, grew up in the '80s, listening to hip hop, before we even had all these hip shows showing videos and internet and all that stuff, we was listening to the vinyl, all that stuff. So we can be a little bit of hip hop expertise, including you and I both do some music. We do forms of music as well. So we know about music. We know what works for us. Some people love Biggie Smalls, whatever, whatever. He has some smoothness to it, but, and this is the case when you talk to some other hip hop artists, they will tell you that they think that Biggie being on people's top three kind of thing was because people wanted hip hop to just be centered around that part of New York. So if you want hip hop to just be centered around that part of New York, yeah, I mean, you're gonna choose all the MCs in New York, and I'm guilty of that because you know my top list, Rakim, I mean, Long Island. Then when I talk about duos, I'm talking about Smith and Wesson, Camp Low, all that stuff. So I'm guilty of that too. But it's when I listen to Biggie's lyrics, I'm not enticed in terms of something. I don't think it's something creative and clever necessarily. So it also depends on what people want to hear. Like it could be fun. It could be like, oh, that was clever. He said that. But I never have heard a Biggie small song and thought, gotcha, kind of strategic lyric or anything like that. And again, people don't come trying to get me because, people are with their hip hop.
All right. I hear what you're saying, Doc. I hear what you're saying. So why don't we do this? It turns out that if you go to, what is this? Rolling Stone. Yeah. If you go to Rolling Stone, they put out a list of the 50 greatest rappers. So I want to get your take on these 50, well, on the top 10 of these 50 rappers. And there are some things that these artists have said that we probably need to take a better look at. So,
I mean, number one, we can always ask, why do we care about Rolling Stone's opinion? But you can go ahead, sorry.
true.
True.
All right. Number one, Jay-Z. Is there anything that Jay-Z has said Oh, you gave the thumbs down. He's another Brooklyn boy. Get used to it.
No, I'm Jazzo. I'm the originator type. I like Jazzo, the originator. Jay Z was cute when he was in those videos. I appreciate Jay Z as an entertainer and a business person, but no, yeah, no. Like my
Uh,
favorite Jay Z tracks actually were when he had other MCs on it. Just cause I love my, and all that, and with Eminem, and I don't even like Eminem, but when Eminem took Jay Z out on that track, and I'm not a fan of Eminem,
interesting.
not even a little
Interesting.
bit.
Now, when we look at the content that Jay has put out, is it something that we should embrace?
No, I'm not offended by anything he said. I just don't see anything prolific and profound and interesting. Like I've never heard a song and be like, "Yo, he was thinking right off of his skull on that one," you know.
All right.
But I mean, there's some people who might think his lyricism is clever. I don't think so. But again, I mean, most people try to fight me when I say Jay Z is not a profound MC. I just don't feel like that. I think that he was surrounded by a lot of important MCs who laid a foundation for him and gave him some good things to emulate, and he added a business model to it. And I'm not mad at that. I think that's a very wise method. Yeah.
Hmm. But you think he's trash. You gave him the thumbs down.
Yeah, I mean, goodness sake, this top 10 rappers list in 2023's got Drake on it. So, like, that, to put Drake on this list, it just, I mean, I think that as we as black people right now are wasting our time acknowledging this list.
Mm.
Like, I would rather see Joe Claire's list, you know?
Kendrick Lamar.
I appreciate his art. Yeah, I appreciate his art, his lyricism. Um, I don't necessarily follow behind people who are the most popular because people like the video kind of thing. So honestly, I wasn't really. I'm like 80s 90s rap anyway. So for me, it's artists who are from the 80s and 90s, and they might have done a new album in the 2000s. That's for me anyway. So Kendrick Lamar is a 2000s rapper. So I tell people I'm not the one to ask about new rappers. Like even if I like their songs and think they're good lyricists, for me I'm still like if I can find it on vinyl kind of rap. Either way,
Nas.
I appreciate Nas. You know, I appreciate his non-acting Self and Belly. That's one of my favorite movies. That's one of my favorite movies. I don't care what anyone says. Yeah, I really do appreciate Nas. I appreciate that Nas is inspiring and motivational. He always acknowledges his hip hop origins, how he got started. So like when he and Jay Z had that fake beef, whatever, and they try to make fun of him for the Uchi Wally Wally, he was like, "Yeah, the Uchi Wally Wally is like the span of what we talk about, the span of what we do, the span of what we talk about it." So I think that's important to highlight because I mean that's the reality, and people were jamming the Uchi Wally Wally in addition
I,
to his other tracks, you know.
the track was bananas.
Yes.
The track was bananas.
Yeah. So sometimes when people try to clown things that are obvious disses, it's like people know intentionally that they're reaching different audiences and also just want people to know the span of their art. When you have such artistry that you can actually talk about a range of things. I mean, even Jay Z talks about a range of things because he has mentioned things like business and things like that in his lyrics. So I can appreciate that. It still doesn't mean that I wouldn't go to a concert for most of these hip hop artists because number one, their concerts are mostly populated with, they make most of their money from people who are outside of our culture anyway. So it's a matter of what you want to see in the concerts. I'm an old school hip hop concert type. So I'm the type who would go to a concert where it's actually small. Like when I saw Smith and Wesson in concert, it would be more kind of like a local kind of thing. It's not this idea of someone who's considered mainstream. Like Smith and Wesson is mainstream in the sense of traveling a lot and going internationally, which you'll see that a lot with like old school artists like Lords of Underground and stuff. But when someone's like the most popular, such that they are mainstream, which means mostly non-black audience, mostly non-black ticket purchasers and album purchasers, I'm not gonna be there because I don't believe in crowded spaces anyway. So like if I can't move my elbow, then I don't want to be there anyway. So it's important that there are artists who know people like me. I think Nas knows his audience. He knows that he's not reaching young people who will be in really crowded spaces. Nas is one of the artists who knows, like, your audience at this age wants to be in smaller concert spaces. And I also appreciate Nas because he's helped getting funds for old school hip hop artists to do things like health resources. So anyone heard about what Nas has done regarding that? That's very important.
All right, let's go to number 4 on the 2023 list. When I say two, you say Pac.
Two, Pac.
Pac.
Two. I've
Pac.
been a fan of Tupac since he was back with Diggable. I was about to say Diggable Planets, which
Woo!
I
Bad
love.
professor.
I love Diggable Planets. By the way, I love Diggable Planets, so I talk about them all the time. So shout out Diggable Planets. But
Lady
digital
Mecca.
underground, yeah. So back when he was actually doing songs with the Shock G, and he was in the videos with his African attire and things like that. That's when he was really young. So I've been a fan of Tupac back then with the digital underground. Am I saying it right this time? So I've been a fan of him since back then. So I am still a fan of Tupac. I think though that a lot of people take him too seriously. And I've actually explained this to some of our people, including some of our people who Pan African Black nationalists. I think they misinterpret Tupac Shakur because of his family background, the Shakur family, in terms of Black radicalism, and they misinterpret him because he was part of like certain Black Panther Party youth program. I really think, and I'm gonna say this again, I'm a fan of Tupac. I think that Tupac is a poet, and I do appreciate his lyricism, his art. I also like him as an actor. My favorite being Juice. But I don't take him seriously in a lot of his lyrics be something that he lived himself. So like when he tried to act like he was from the streets. Again, he has an arts district. When he was in Baltimore with his, BFF Jada Pinkett in Baltimore, they were in the art school. So it doesn't mean you're not in the streets because again, based on his family background, doesn't mean you're not in the streets. It just means that I think that there's just different forms of expressing art. And I do think he was an actor as well. So he knew how to adjust to different environments. And there's nothing wrong with that. But I do want black people, a lot of times black people love the phrase code switch, which I really don't like that phrase at all. Usually black people are using that phrase code switch to talk about being around non-blacks. But I also want our people to understand how we use different faces and different hats around our own people. And if we understand that for our people who are not famous and not entertainers, understand that how entertainers do it too. I think Tupac is an example of you put yourself in different spaces as an actor, as a rapper, as a poet. Was it Michael Eric Dyson who wrote the Tupac Shakur poem book? I mean, understand his educational background in the School of the Arts. So I actually do like Tupac Shakur. I remember where we were in college. We were in our friend's dormitory room, and that's when we were watching MTV News, back when they had MTV News in 1996. And they announced it. We were like, you lying. Because when that happened, it actually gave me a flashback to when I was in high school and they announced that Eazy-E had died. We were in homeroom when it was announced Eazy-E had died on the overhead in high school. We went to black high school. So So yeah, I appreciate. I mean, you could tell, but that wouldn't, wouldn't have been if it was not black. If it was non-black high school. So yeah, so I appreciate Tupac. I just don't take Tupac literally for a lot of things that some people do, like especially when they see Tupac with like Snoop Dogg and stuff. Again, he's an artist and he does it very well, but I didn't take him literally like he's out there shooting people for real and stuff like that.
All right, all right. Uh, Trash or not? He gets the thumbs up.
Who Tupac?
Yeah.
Oh, he gets thumbs up,
All right.
but there's
Cool.
always an asterisk. Thumbs up based on understanding that he was an actor, and a lot of these MCs are actors in a sense. It's like you can't take everything so literally.
Eminem. I know where you're going with this.
I, I don't even know who that is. So next one.
Well, we
I
already
mean,
talked about the Notorious.
yeah, Eminem did a good job of taking Jay Z on his own track. And I actually liked Eminem on his first album. That was when I still lived in Richmond. And I got the album from someone who worked for a radio station. And at the time, it was like, oh, okay. And we used to see it all on like MTV where Dr. Dre and Eminem were doing stuff. And it was like profound because, at that time, we had already been accustomed to Third Base, Vanilla Ice, gotta say that. I mean, we've been accustomed to some white rappers. So we're like, okay, Eminem's gonna be added to that team. Because I like MC Search when he's not running his mouth. So, it was like another white rapper. We can do that. But then when Eminem got considered like the king of hip hop, I was like, black people, y'all love doing this cookout thing. Y'all love passing out black cards. To the point where they did the rap, the BET hip hop, what was it?
Cypher, yeah, the BET
And they
Cypher.
had him the lead of the cipher. First of all, 5% is created ciphers. So all these black men, and first of all, it doesn't have to just be men in first place. But y'all gonna let this non-black person, who, regardless of who they are, be the lead of a cipher? And he did it sounded like a cartoon character at that. So it's not. I mean, we got so many old school MCs, and we got so many new MCs. I was really disappointed by that. It just let me know that I'm disappointed, but a lot of people don't really care about the representation of our culture. They don't understand the difference between inviting some people to hang out sometimes versus letting them be the image that people think of when they think of our culture.
Okay. All right. All right. That makes sense. That definitely
Yes.
makes sense.
So he doesn't
All
even
right.
exist
So
as far as I'm concerned, because I'd be telling black people, why you keep making him the center? Gosh, just leave me alone.
Lil Wayne.
I like Lil Wayne. I liked him back to the his when he was a child. Back when he was still a child. Um, yeah. So I like the track where he'd talk nonstop. I was like, okay, he won't breathe. He was doing it. He's taking a downward spiral, but I do think that he is a good MC. Yeah.
All right. Well, let's
I'm a
do
fan of a
this.
lot of MCs in New Orleans. Yeah.
Well, okay. Drizzy,
Who's Drizzy?
Drake.
Don't ever call Drake Drizzy. I don't know why y'all let this actor. Y'all about to get my hip hop stress out. Okay.
Go
I
ahead.
mean,
Go ahead.
there's some people who like even the whole Kendrick Lamar versus Drake battle was not a real rap battle. So I be telling people like people got too much time in their hands. I do like, but after Drake is Snoop Dogg. I do like Snoop Dogg ever since the first album. Ever since the album, actually his appearances before that album, I liked him. So I appreciate Snoop Dogg. I think he's goofy, but I appreciate him. I also like that when he was part of No Limit. Because again, part of the artistry is knowing that it doesn't have to just be one format. You know how to spread it. So when they did the verses, whew, and Snoop Dogg was like, "I'm gonna show up just for a little bit." I was happy to see that because I was like, "Okay, Snoop,
All right. So you can rock with Snoop. You can rock with
Yeah,
Snoop.
I appreciate Snoop. He
Okay.
had his
All right.
reminiscing, George Clinton some more.
Nicki Minaj is number 10 on 2015.
I hear you. um, I think that a lot of artists that are popular and a lot of songs that are popular on the radio are meaningless. They're trash.
Hmm.
So a lot of I'm not the only person in my age group that does not listen to radio stations that play those kinds of genres. We listen to like old school stuff, and we'll listen to some new stuff as long as it don't sound too stupid. And one thing we understand is like there's always been like we have centuries of different music genres that have some songs that are stupid. Like if you look at the origins of hip hop, even when we talk about DJ Cass Money and Marvelous, which I'm a big fan of theirs, and they're coming back into concerts. But their song "Find Yourself an Ugly Woman, Make Her Your Wife." Back then, we were like, "Oh my goodness, this is real goofy." Like DJ Jazzy Jeff, Fresh Prince, their songs. Of course, my favorite is Brand New Funk, but they also did goofy songs. So we're accustomed to silly stuff. But a lot of the new hip hop now, and that includes artists like Cardi B, Nicki Minaj, in my opinion, are I consider them a waste of ear space. They're a waste of ear space.
Whoa.
I don't want to hear it. Yeah, I don't want to hear any of them.
All right.
There's some people who are lyricists, but they get hidden behind this cartoonish depiction that the marketers tell them they gotta sound like this. They gotta sound like this. Because originally you're looking at when Lil Kim came into the scene, she knew that she was on the backs of decades of women MCs, decades, and she paid homage to the women MCs, right? Who I
Mhm.
love dearly. She came in and she brought in something new, but she didn't bring in something that's stupid, such that when you watch one of those honor award shows and they're honoring Lil Kim and doing performances in honor of Lil Kim, there's so much pride of the older women MCs having her, like Queen Latifah and MC Light and them, that they are applauding Lil Kim. You know what I'm saying? They're not saying she wasted hip hop. They're applauding her. They're standing up for her. So when old school is standing up for the newer school, because back in the '90s, Lil Kim was considered new school. It says a lot. I don't think that same thing is happening for a lot of the newer MCs, and that includes Nicki Minaj.
Okay. All right. All right. Um, who is your top 10? Because I know that you got Rakim and Eric B, but who's your top?
But we can't put Eric B as an MC.
Nope.
My top 10. I will
Wouldn't
just
put him
say
as a
who I
producer
listen to
either.
the most. Okay, you being disrespectful. Being disrespectful. Like, okay. I'm about to sneeze, by the way. Let me put this. That was so disrespectful. I was about to sneeze on it. So, Rakim,
Okay.
actually, Rakim. MC Light. I still support Nikki D. I want Nikki D to switch some things up in her new music, but I still am a fan of Nikki D. I and if you add some teams to it, I add Smith and Wesson. Big fan of Smith and Wesson. First of all, Black Moon, Buckshot, then Smith and Wesson. I'm a fan of Camp Low still. Their website is still up, but they have not done performances. I just want them to know that some of us are waiting. We're ready for them to do some performances again. When I think about, of course, Digable Planets, with them performing again now, I really appreciate Digable Planets. Honestly, I recognize Lauryn Hill as an MC in addition to a singer. Like a lot of people, I think it's mostly younger people who don't recognize Lauryn Hill when she started off acting. Then when you look at the first Fugees, you got the vocab and all of that. And then she added singing to it. A lot of times they just see Lauryn Hill as a singer, and those of us who were always familiar with Lauryn Hill since she was a youngin, the singing was added to the list. Also, John Forte is always been on my top list. I'm always been a fan of John Forte.
John Forte.
Yeah, a lot of people
Wow.
like a lot. His albums had some of the top MCs on his albums that I just don't
Yeah.
think the record deals were not promoting it for various reasons. I don't know if it was because of his past being in prison for transferring selling drugs, but I've always been a fan. I think I was first really a fan of him when he started Pandemonium Strikes at the end of Cowboys.
Hmm.
His first started Pandemonium Strikes. He was behind the bar and they lift him up and he was like, make your figure. And he started going all like this. I was like, okay, he's dramatic. He's dramatic. And there's a reason why they put him at the end because they know that his lyric and his movement would be something to be like, all right, it's over, y'all. And
Yeah.
then I
Yeah.
kept
Yeah.
coming, ole. So that really drew me into John Forte. And of course, that track, I love Lauryn Hill and I love Rod Digger. I do love Rod Digger. And so, yeah, I'm a big fan. I always tell people if I had like my list, like Lady of Rage, if I had like my list of all these MCs who could come in, for a lot of people, it's going to be people who have not released an album in years. And you got to understand, some people haven't released an album in years, maybe because they're doing some different kind of promotion. Like if you know people who are affiliated with Wu Tang Clan, for example, they're going to do their performances and their albums in a way that's not going to be popular like Wu Tang Clan because they are affiliated, but they're not
Hmm.
like the main Wu Tang Clan artists. And but a lot of it is really good music. Like for people, if you go to their performances, even if it's like not a packed crowd, there are some really good MCs. So a lot of times when I talk about my favorite MCs, it could be local artists, it could be artists who haven't done an album in a long time, but they're still doing performances, and you might find them doing some freestyling. Like John Forte would do some freestyling.
Yep.
And again, he also did an album where they were just playing the guitars. Like, I just think he was really smooth with what he did. Rest in peace. Yeah.
Rest in peace to the fourth Fuji, as Wyclef said.
Yeah.
John Forte was the fourth Fuji.
Yeah.
The challenge that many of us have is that we love the lyrics, presentation, we love the music, we love the vibe, but some of the messages we just can't handle. We can't stomach. What do we do?
Stop listening. And um, it's just one of those things. A lot of times you'll hear even the top MCs talking about how hip, like they'll do shows. Like Willie D, I think talked about this on his podcast, which Ghetto Boys, Willie D.
Hmm.
Where they were talking about why these lyrics are loud in hip hop, and on one end that is correct, right? The marketing happens because of who runs the industry, who runs record labels, and also who's the target audience. And this has always been the case. But at the same time, I do want, as a people, as black people specifically, I do want us to stop always pointing the finger and like we're helpless and we cannot be contributors and change makers. And I know people be like, you ain't a rapper, you don't know what I feel. I get it. I get it. But if that's the same thing that we keep highlighting, we have to understand there's actually some MCs, underground MCs. There's MCs who are doing their own record labels, MCs who are not being marketed well, but their tracks are off the hook. Some MCs who've been allowed to travel and perform out of the nation because they realize that they can't get a lot of ticket buyers in America, right? So it is happening. It's just a matter of what fans are willing to support. It's just a matter of what fans are willing to support. And I think a lot of people would understand this if we were talking about like R&B and soul, like people like who I love, Billy Ocean, who does not live in America anymore, right? People understand what it means to find your passion and your support however you have to do it, and you keep doing what you're passionate about. So I think people need to apply that to hip hop artists. Like we can't the lyrics some lyrics are always going to be bad, but but music has always had horrible lyrics. Like that's not a new thing. I just think people need to find ways to stop listening to certain things, learn how to censor the songs, like require them to have edited versions, like Smith and Wesson's the goat duo. Camp Low is my second goat duo, but they both have tracks that have some language in it that is offensive. There's some homophobic language in it. There's some language towards women. And they know, though, back when those songs were popular, especially to play it on the radio and in certain DJ areas, and also now playing it globally when they perform outside of the country, they have to edit it out. And this is also something that Jamaican artists had to learn in the 90s when they got their album deals removed. They were not allowed to perform in Europe because of their homophobic use of patois. So the same things, hip hop artists who really want to make some real changes will have to figure out maybe they had some harmful lyrics when they were young, 19 years old, now they're 30 years old. And they have to think about how they're going to change how they present their lyrics. And that's one thing you'll see with Smith and Wesson when you see recordings of their performance in Europe, you'll see that they've changed their demeanor a lot of times and also changed how they present their lyrics.
Good stuff. Good stuff. So I guess the message that we get is we can truly appreciate the art form and the artist, but we need to take a better conscious look at some of the messages we take in.
Take a conscious look, but stop expecting the whole world to stop based on that, though. I mean, this is one thing.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, as grown folk, as grown black folks, the world does not revolve around what offends us at any given moment, right? Like entire albums of many genres, including other languages that you don't even know. Like a lot of black people who are not from Jamaica do not know patois. So when you go to an event, they're singing these homophobic songs from Buju Banton from back when he was 19 years old. They're
Mm-hmm.
singing homophobic, I mean, because Shabba Ranks did homophobia. They're doing homophobic lyrics from all these types of Jamaican tracks, also from some hip hop artists who oftentimes have Jamaican family backgrounds, so they're using patois, and you don't know. And of course, there are some hip hop, or like Brand Nubian has a track where they, unfortunately, I love that track, but he put a
Yo, that's my
homophobic,
joint.
yeah, when they're on the
Yo,
train.
punks
When
jump
they're
up to get beat
Yeah.
down.
So that a lot of times we all know the edited version because that's what's on was on Rap City and MTV Raps, right?
Yeah.
But the original version actually had the homophobic slur in it, right? So that's the case when you listen. I mean, of course, I love EPMD. My favorite track is Slow Down Baby. You can get rugged, type like me. And of course, LL killed that song.
Yeah.
Parrish had a homophobic lyric in there in the first verse. In his first line, he had a homophobic lyric. So whenever I play that track, and again, I love that's my favorite EPMD track, and I love all their tracks. But I always have to fast forward that part and get to LL's part, the Ripper, the Master, the Overlordian. I gotta skip Parrish because I'm like Parrish. There was so much art in what you were saying, but you had to throw that word in, and that's done to women as well. Like all types of messages sent around. So you can fast forward, skip it, not purchase it, whatever you do, but just understand that the industry is still going to monopolize based on audiences, even if they are part of those identities that are being offended, that are still purchasing that. So I don't believe in everything being the end of the world. I just believe that we have to figure out how you're going to adjust accordingly. Like I tell DJs if I'm going to an event or hosting an event to listen to what they're playing before they select it to play at my event or at any event. Like listen to this. Because number one, it can have a really tight beat, but I really believe that DJs, just like producers, need to listen to lyrics. Because like if all you're listening to is a beat, that kind of like sounds like a kindergartner level of DJing. You know what I'm saying? Because I feel like listening to the lyrics
Mm,
is how you really know how to mix songs together. Because sometimes you could be mixing songs together even better if you know that it has common themes in the lyrics themselves and not just the beat. Because some of us actually do listen to the lyrics. I know DJ, but there are some DJs who actually want to hear the track. They were like, okay, what's this song talking about? Let me hear what they're saying, because they actually want to mix it not only the beat but the lyrics also.
well, if I hear a song, I hear the music first. I might understand and listen to the lyrics on the second take, but the
Yeah,
first take, the music captures me.
yeah, but I'm not
So
talking about first or second or third. I'm talking about you eventually listen to the lyrics. You don't just say,
yeah,
"I'll pick up this track," right? Because the song could
right.
be like, look here, nigger boy, look here, nigger boy. You ain't gonna overlook that it's calling you a nigger boy. You're gonna say, okay, this was a tight track, and then you're gonna take a step back, and be like, wait a second, what did you just say? Let me rewind that. Who made this track again? So I'm not talking about that's the first thing you hear is the lyrics. The first thing you hear is the thing that grabs your attention, like the bass line, something. And then you're kind of like, okay, there's something more to it than the bass line. And I think that's important. There are DJs who listen long enough to actually listen to the lyrics and not just the beat itself.
Last words.
Last words. So I do all of this because I talk about black artistry and we talk
Right.
about black art for propaganda that is good propaganda. So when people see me, what I teach about, do presentations in communities, and also what I write about on social media, I provide links to artist propaganda from W.E.B. Du Bois's poetry, from Marcus Garvey's poems and other poems and songs that are in the Negro world, UNIA's The Negro World. Harold Cruz, of course, started off on the stage. So we have centuries of black art used for good propaganda, and of course, thousands of years of Africans in different parts of Africa as well. So that includes, though, perspectives that we might not necessarily agree. So the same thing applies to hip hop. You don't have to throw out all hip hop because we have subgenres of hip hop. We have horror hip hop, we have rock hip hop, we have romantic hip hop, we got jazz hip hop. Shout out to Diggable Planets again. We have all these different parts of hip hop. We got people who want to be gangster hip hop. We do have actual like gang members who do albums together. So we have different parts of hip hop. So as black people, we should not be brainwashed to think that we got to abandon things that are not perfect. That if something doesn't work out, now we got to get rid of everything from our people. Remove that culture altogether. I think that's a complete brainwashing that misses the point of what it means to pay attention to detail, alter accordingly, know who you might omit, and move on. But you don't have to let go of our art and our culture. And hip hop's part of our art and our culture.
All right, class. If you have any comments, please leave them in the chat. Leave them in the comments section. Hopefully, you had some brain sparks with this one. This is Professor Kimya's class, teacher assistant. You're the student. She's the professor. Keep learning. Peace. And this is the part that I'm still learning. Because every
It's
time
still
I try to
live.
do this,
It's still live. It's still live.